Do you like George Pig? If you answered yes, maybe you are the only one, because not even the other characters like him. Have you ever stopped to notice how George Pig's life seems to be a little complicated when we look at it closely? He seems to be just a cute little pig who loves dinosaurs, but if we look at the behavior of the other characters, we realize that he is constantly being left aside. One of the biggest reasons for this is his reputation for being a huge crybaby. Of course, he is very little, and it's normal for kids his age to cry, but George seems to take this to a whole new level, and even a bit exaggerated. He bursts into tears for any silly reason, man. Imagine how annoying something like that must be. He gets himself dirty with mud and cries. If he has to get into the pool, he cries. Has to eat vegetables? Then he stays chill. No, just kidding. He cries even more. Just imagine how exhausting it must be for Daddy Pig and Mommy Pig to have to interrupt everything they are doing to comfort a little pig who is making a scene because of an earthworm. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There is much more proof that George is not very liked by his friends and even by his own family. We're going to show them to you right now, here on Zigzag. Another point that makes a lot of people impatient with George is his absolute and almost hypnotic fixation on dinosaurs. He barely says other words and prefers to answer dinosaur to practically everything they ask him, regardless of whether the answer makes sense or not. If someone asks, "George, do you want some juice?" the answer is dinosaur. If they ask, "What time is it?" he answers dinosaur. Having a favorite toy is something very cool and common in childhood, but George does not let go of his dinosaur even for a second, not even to take a bath or to sleep. This creates an atmosphere of monotony for those who live with him because it is impossible to have a different conversation or a different game. A clear and even a little sad example of this happens on his birthday. A birthday should be a moment of togetherness, but the party is organized at the museum, precisely in the dinosaur room. While George is radiant, jumping with joy, Peppa and the other guests seem much less excited. And if you look closely, even George's supposed best friend has reasons to get irritated with him. Want to see? Many people try to defend George by saying, "Oh, but at least he has Richard Rabbit as his best friend. They are inseparable." But if we analyze this friendship with a more critical eye, we realize that it can be quite toxic and unfair to the little bunny. Richard ends up getting into several messes and going through humiliating situations just for being by George's side. One example is when he is expelled from the treehouse by Peppa. He was punished by association just because he was George's playmate. In addition, the beginning of their friendship was based on quite selfish behavior on the part of the little pig. In their first meeting, Richard built a beautiful and very detailed sand mound. What did George do? Instead of praising it or asking to play together, he simply destroyed Richard's sand mound without any apparent reason, just out of meanness or for wanting to be the center of attention. Richard, who seems to be a much calmer child and who does not know how to defend himself or say no, ends up accepting these attitudes from George just so he will not be alone. It is a friendship where George sets the rules and Richard just obeys and suffers the consequences. What do you think is the biggest reason to not like Peppa's little younger brother? Type #George in the comments and tell us. His relationship with Peppa is, perhaps, the most evident example that not everything is roses in George's life and that he is frequently rejected. Peppa, being the older sister, often shows that she has absolutely no patience for his limitations and his repetitive games. There are several moments when she is rude, ignores him, or excludes him on purpose from the group's activities. A striking example that shows how Peppa does not like her little younger brother happens when Grandpa Pig builds a treehouse for the two of them to play together. One day, Peppa decides that that is the girls' club. Even with George behaving properly, staying quiet in his corner and trying only to be included in the fun together with his friend Richard Rabbit, Peppa decides that they do not belong in that place. She expels them from the treehouse without any fair reason, treating her own brother as if he were an intruder who would ruin the big kids' game. What draws the most attention in this scene is not even just Peppa's attitude. It is also the fact that her friends, like Susie Susie Sheep and Danny Dog watch everything without saying a single word in George's defense. Not even his own parents would be able to defend him from how tired they must be of George's crying. They have even already found a way to please him so that he does not make an even bigger scene. Many people look at George and think that he is the favorite of the house, the greatly protected one who is very spoiled by Daddy Pig and Mommy Pig. Indeed, he receives incredible presents that would make any child jealous, like dinosaur robots that walk and make noise, and he always seems to have his wishes granted before everyone else at the table. However, if we stop to analyze it psychologically, this excess of pampering may hide a somewhat deeper and sadder truth about the pig family. Sometimes when parents give many toys, electronics, and expensive presents to a child, it can be an attempt to compensate for the lack of a more real emotional connection. It may be that Daddy and Mommy Pig give George everything he wants only as a way to prevent him from bringing many problems. It is much easier to give a new toy to keep George busy and quiet in the corner of the room than to have to sit down, talk, and work on this behavior that is so difficult and explosive. Instead of being a sign that he is the favorite child, being spoiled that way may just be the way the parents found to buy a few minutes of peace and silence. After all, no parent likes it when their child is as disobedient as George. And if you do not believe me, you can rest assured that I am going to show you right now. Have you never noticed how disobedient he is? He constantly ignores Mommy Pig's and Daddy Pig's orders, acting as if the safety rules simply did not apply to him. A classic example that shows how stubborn he can be happens in the episode in which it is raining and Mommy Pig hands him a rain hat. She clearly says that he needs to wear the hat so he does not get wet and does not get sick. What does George do? The moment she turns her back, he simply pulls off the hat, throws it on the ground, and continues in the rain. For sure, he did that to get sick on purpose, just to get even more attention. He ended up with a fever and having to stay in bed, overloading his parents even more, who need to stop everything to take care of a situation that he himself caused through pure disobedience. It is true that Daddy and Mommy Pig almost never get truly angry or put George in timeout, but even so, it is very easy to imagine that, behind those forced smiles in the animation, they are extremely frustrated and even sad to have to deal with his behavior every day. And if you still have not subscribed to the channel, the one who is going to be sad is me. Click on the subscribe button to become part of our group. Anyone who thinks that only the family has problems with George is mistaken. Even those who do not live in the pig's house seem to have quite a negative opinion about him. Susie Sheep practically lives at their house from how often she shows up, and in several episodes, she shows that she does not have the slightest sympathy for the little pig. Since she spends hours and hours talking with Peppa, she probably hears all the complaints that the older sister has about George. This makes Susie already arrive for visits with a bad attitude installed against him. A clear example of this antipathy happens when George and his friend Richard Rabbit are trying to have fun in the bedroom, making dinosaur noises and running around, while Peppa and Susie want to play hospital. The expression on Susie Sheep's face in these scenes says everything that words do not say. She looks at George without the slightest patience, certainly thinking that he is just getting in the way of her day. She does not make the slightest effort to be nice, to teach him a new game, or to include him. I do not know about you, but I would not like to have to deal with someone like George Pig.